Oh, I know.
Hi there. Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Good to see you all. It says Mary and me. Here we are.
Are you scared?
Nah, I ain't afraid of nothing.
There's a fish.
Foxy, hello, Fishmar. Muppet the fish. Lee Wilcox.
Our sound's not coming through quite as good again,
Well,
but we can hear it a little bit.
hi there.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. There we are. There we are. Good as six. Well, good evening.
How's everybody doing?
Oh, dear, dear. Well, Cassie will be sad to hear, or maybe pleased to hear, that I sold the entire gang of silver dollars today. The whole mob and crew of them.
They were a mob for sure. They were having gang activity, weren't they?
Yeah, Thomas and I moved them yesterday into the 500. I think we showed that on the video. That's what we were catching with the double net system.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
I love that video. I haven't left a comment yet, but it was good.
well, it was different. Thomas was trying some new techniques, trying to do in-tank videos. So that was kind of fun.
Alan Tooth said the murderers.
Murder,
the silver dollars.
Oh, you bet. Well, what was fun was Cass doing a song about it.
Yeah.
That we'll play that a little later. It's Aquatic Conquest has a new version of it that's got her a little louder, so that's good because her voice is kind of low. As much as I get on her about her volume being volume three, her voice on the music is really low. But he's corrected that, so
All right.
So Alex is apologizing for crashing. He had been up, I think, something like 170 hours straight.
Right.
He was going for almost 2 weeks, trying to set a world record.
As soon as
who can stay awake and be in manic condition the longest.
Right.
Trying for a Guinness record.
He made the mistake of sitting down and getting still. That's how it happens.
Right.
Oh, speaking of Alex, can I show my shirt?
Oh, please.
This is Alex's art, y'all. This is from The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see which way.
That is stunning.
And then the back of it, I don't know if I can line it up because I can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's good.
Can you see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely love it. And this is like the new style. Whoops, sorry, my strap's showing right there.
That's nice.
Yeah, I like the scoop neck on it. That makes it so much. I love it. So thank you, Alex, for I bought it. I didn't, but thank you for your artistic abilities because it's beautiful.
You bet. So anyway, he feels bad about crashing his last stream.
Yeah. You were good, Alex. You did it was a really good stream. And then, like I said, you just got to looking at stuff on the computer and got still, and it was over.
Funny.
He did a really good video today. He did an anatomy video.
I saw that.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I came on the heels of our spending about half an hour this morning talking about the gonopodium of male live bearers. So it was very, very appropriate that they do that. It was actually really helpful. We are in sync. We are.
He gets inspired.
I think.
Let's see. Father Fish.
Emily Stevens.
Oh, T-Bone said he wanted to know what made you decide to do an evening stream.
Well, I had a lot of people talking to me about the fact that we were missing a bunch of people in the evening that we could reach with the string. And I just, my idea initially was to do it as a much more techie kind of approach. I was really doing it in deference to Thomas and his techie skills. So we were going to be doing a different platform, kind of mixing it up with different videos and trying to do a more high-tech thing. And then we got on there first night, and Mary drags out the grandchildren and the puppies. And that sort of settled it.
I love how he blames this on me. You're gonna have to be accountable now.
Really? At that point, I realized that it was just the opposite of what I had imagined it was going to be. That kind of looked like a whale, a beached whale. I don't think I like that. I don't like that.
I know. It's like you gotta adjust everything.
Yeah.
Either it gives you double chins or I don't know, some crow's feet. One eye's bigger than the other.
It turned into family hour.
Right, James.
And
James said, "Shame on me."
So we never did do the high tech stuff. We just I'm sitting at home in my little one-room abode,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the bed in the background and
Right
some
behind
pictures
y'all.
on the wall. I have no fish tank here. I do need to bring one home. I really do need to do it. And eventually I'll get some kind of studio set up, but I'm not ready to do it yet. Um, it just kind of gone the other direction. It's become really a more informal, um, kind of open ended,
Let's see.
easygoing, friendly, casual kind of thing, which is not really at all what I had anticipated.
This is like evening wind down with Father Fish.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It really is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we've been through the chaos of the day. We tried to give everybody a good, fun, upbeat start in the morning. We've now lived through it, and we're coming back together in the evening for a few minutes to
Right.
uh, to kind of unwind and try to begin to put it all back together a little bit.
I was reading a fish, and Emily were talking about some snails. And we had some pretty good discussions on snails yesterday, and then Alex's stream was on snails. But wondering about see 2 sacks of
Yeah,
snail eggs.
some conversation this at the early in the chat before we went on about duckweed.
Oh yeah.
Um, and that's kind of interesting. Patrick was saying he's never had it. He
Oh,
might
Petroman. Yeah.
Petroman. Oh, okay. And my my suggestion or advice or comment, Petroman, is well, go ahead and do that, but be forewarned that you will always have it. Once you get it, you can't get rid of it. It's like some other things. The difficulty is just think about this for a minute. You got one little tiny leaf, one little tiny duckweed plant, just one. And tomorrow it's two. That ain't it. And the next day it's four. And then it's 16.
And it
And then
keeps going.
it's 32, 64. by by the end of 2 weeks, the top of your tank is covered in duckweed. From
Right.
one, and it's true. It's exactly how it works. Once it gets covered, then it begins to go deep. Then it'll grow on top of itself. Now, Salvini, which is comparable to duckweed, it's a little larger. Salvini actually changes its structure once it covers the surface. Then it kind of curls up and grows upward.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it might get inches thick, like 2, 3 inches thick. I've
Huh.
never seen a flower on either of them. Don't know if they flower or not. They are plants. They have a root. Um, but I don't know that I've ever seen a flower. So, but they multiply by division very effectively, um, enormously. So it's kind of amazing.
So
So once you get one, unless you get rid of every single one, and I did work out a technique for doing that using a wet vac, a small wet vac. If you wet vac, hold it just above the surface so you're not pulling a lot of water up. It's a little tricky to do, but you can get, if you're careful, you can get every single leaf without stirring it up.
yeah.
That's the real trick. When you try to take it out with a net, a whole bunch of it goes down. It's like fish. They head for the bottom. It just it gets swirled into the water column. Then you have to sit there and wait for it to come back up and do it again. And the minute you do it again, you got a whole more a whole lot more of them going
Yeah.
down in the water column. So it's kind of a bear, and you never get them all. You
I
never
want
get
to.
them, not with a net.
I want to see you with it in your beard. I think that would be magnificent.
I'm surprised there isn't any. um, that'll be a Christmas thing. We'll do Christmas decorations. We'll
Yeah.
do fishy Christmas decorations. That'll be a kick.
Yeah.
Well, do a
We
frog
could
right.
put we could yeah, put a couple of duckweed and a couple of snails.
Yeah, really.
Some red
Fun.
cherry shrimp. How about some red cherry shrimp hanging off your beard?
Yeah,
Red and
well,
green.
what I could do is I could put some of my hair in a bag of water and have fish swimming around.
Oh my goodness.
Neptune, the
Yes. Father Neptune.
Father Neptune, right?
Oh, a fish. To see thinks may no, I don't think anybody here would do that. Lee was saying he was getting some weird emails, and James, I don't know what in the world.
I don't know. A fish is complaining about.
Yeah,
He thinks he's getting spammed.
yeah, it wouldn't be us. I don't think a fish.
I don't know. I've noticed one thing that's happening on my channel. I've lost 10% of my subscribers in the last 7 days.
Yeah, Lee was telling me like they unsubscribed him, and I've checked on a couple of mine, and they've done it to me too.
That's all right.
Yeah, like taking me off
About
of
40,
channels.
yeah, I've had about 40 people who have been unsubscribed in the last week. Um, yeah, my distinct impression is that YouTube is no friend. It is not a friendly service. It is opportunistic. It is restrictive. It is confining, and it is profoundly um, pecuniary.
Yeah,
You know, when you figure they're taking 30% of personal donations,
oh yeah,
that's that's actually probably, if that were taken to court, that probably would not stand because they can't possibly defend that. That's pure profiteering.
let's see.
Emily is saying she's gained a few unintentional. I wonder if that means. Well, there are two things that happen subscriber wise. One is the scammers who are simply um, putting porn out.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, girls in chat or such stuff.
right. It's
I
a some. It's
simply,
a
yeah, I ban those from the channel whenever I see them. But the other group is more interesting. The other group is people who are trading subscriptions. They'll come on and they'll go on like 500 small subscribers, and they'll say, I'll subscribe to you if you subscribe to me. And they build a subscription base doing that.
mm-hmm.
And YouTube goes after that. Um, they write algorithms to try to control that. And I think it's those algorithms getting out of control that cause those of us who have legitimate subscribers to lose them. So that's my sense of what's happening. Of course,
Yeah,
there's no way to know because none of us are privy to the algorithm,
right.
which includes the entire staff of YouTube are not privy to the algorithm. It's all AI. It runs pretty much on its own. It makes its own decisions. Um, it's a perfect example of what happens when computers take over. They do their thing and they do it their way, and there's really no way to control it or to defeat its more nefarious activities, or to somehow get around it, or to somehow learn how to use it. Even, I mean, it operates in a completely different universe that uh, I've had some conversations. I'm going to get on this a little bit because I think it's interesting. I've noticed some things about just the fish fam, because that's mainly where I hang out. There are a few other channels I look out, but mainly the fish fam, and I expect that's reflected on YouTube in probably hundreds, if not thousands, of other special interest groups that are sharing. The thing I've noticed is that while there are, maybe a half a dozen people who have been Fish Fam uh, members for 10 to 12 years or so and have very large numbers of subscribers, everybody else is at essentially the lowest level, well under 10,000. As I try to get to 5,000, I keep going backwards, which is strange. I was fortunate enough last March to hit a break in the algorithm that pumped me very hard for about 2 weeks, and I picked up about 2,000 subscribers in 2 weeks. It was astounding. And then for the next 2 weeks, it dropped off to where I was before all that started. And I'm frankly right now with 4,500 subscribers. I am right exactly where I was in terms of activity 30 days after I got online last September. I'm at exactly the same rate of growth, exactly the same rate of exposure. Now, I had the opportunity to do some digging, and I searched around to find some other people on the fish fam. And what I discovered is there are an untold number of groups on the fish fam that are virtually completely isolated from all of the other groups, utterly, completely isolated. I was amazed. I found three streams, three live streams, and as I looked at the people who are on the live stream, it was 30, 40, 50 people on each. There was not one that I recognized, nor on those three, in those three different groups, nor was there anyone who shared more than one of those groups. So they existed as isolated pockets. And I think somehow this AI YouTube, in its infinite wisdom, has done precisely that. I think it isolates small pockets, small groups of people who are involved with each other, supportive of each other, but essentially shadow banned, if you will, from being able to see more of the fish fam universe. Even that relatively small group of how many? 500,000 people worldwide. That's probably not that many. It's probably more like 250,000 people worldwide who are actually fish tubers. And they exist in these hundreds of little hundreds of little pockets. They never grow, at least not substantially. My growth has been remarkable in that I've done 5,000 in 1 year. There are a few people like Fish Boy who has done more, but I think there's a reason for that. Fish Boy, for example, was picked up by Corey, and Corey has got a very large number of people who tune into his channel and his videos and streams. So when he promotes someone, it very quickly they get a large group of people plugging in, and that's clearly what's happened to Fish Boy. He's a wonderful young man. He's got brilliant videos, a fabulous fish room. He's really, uh, quite the quite the fish tuber. So it's very
Yeah, he's got.
yeah, it's very deserving. But there are a lot of other people. Jason is a perfect example. Redfish, bluefish. He's probably he certainly is one of, if not the most knowledgeable amateur fish keeper in the fish fan, hands down. He's been on as long as I have, about a year, and he's down around 1,500 subscribers, and he hadn't been able to break through that. He does amazing videos, brilliant stuff. I just think we're dealing with something that while it holds out the expectation of significant growth, really does not produce the opportunity to be able to achieve that significant growth. So I don't want to say any more about that. A lot of it is just my opinion and my thoughts. May in fact have nothing to do with reality. Could just be sour grapes on my.
Could be.
Yeah, could be. I don't know, but that's the way it feels.
Let's
What
see.
else we got here?
We have Muhammad, who has just joined us tonight, who the first comment was he wants you to write a book, which I agree. I think you should. And then the second, let's see here, the second comment said he read Diana's Ecology of a Planet Aquarium. However, a few of your principles differ a little from hers. And I was just going to get all the comments so you could address it all. And then, are there any other books that you recommend on your dirted tank method? Any other recommendations for good reads? Okay, we'll go with that.
Really, no, there really aren't. There are not a lot of people promoting it. And there are a lot of people who poo-poo it, who don't like it, don't appreciate it at all. Probably more of the latter than the former. So it's really a struggle getting it out there and promoting it. Although I see the impact. I see more and more advanced aquarists who are adopting it and finding that it has certain application for them in their fish room. Maybe not in all of their tanks, but in some of their tanks, particularly the community tanks that have a lot of plants. I mean, Alex is a case in point. Virtually all of his tanks are deep substrate tanks.
Yeah.
And everybody does that a little differently. He does it differently than I do, but it works for him, and it works very well. Part of the reason I do it the way I do is because I'm in those tanks all the time.
Right.
I'm not running a fish room.
And the secret to it is like what Muhammad just said, adding sand to a disturbed sand cap. Yes, if it's like been breached in any way, you've planted a plant, you've gone too deep, whatever, it is better if you go ahead and just cap it, even add an extra inch of sand if it's
exactly right.
it's kind of a little bit of a finesse when you start planting because you don't want to get the roots all the way down to the bottom. You just want to get them into the sand, and then they'll
Right.
reach the bottom on their own.
Yeah, Word Dunlop is saying, should I cap the mineral loaded fluorite with sand? Yes, I do, um, because I want to be able to make sure I have created an anaerobic layer, and that
Yeah,
with sand as a substrate, it takes 2 inches of sand to be able to stop the flow of oxygen down into the substrate. And until you can stop that, you really can't get an anaerobic layer. It's part of the reason that gravel doesn't work because it's more porous. Water
yeah,
flows through it. So you've got to have 6, 8, 12 inches of gravel
for it to
in
really cap
order,
it.
in order for it to be deep enough that the water flowing through it is not going to be oxygenated by the time it hits the dirt layer.
Yeah,
So that's now you're not going to find any of that in any of the books. Nobody talks about that.
right. Yeah, like I just got this George Farmer book, and I mean, he talks about deep substrate, but nobody really talks about the capping with the sand. And it just, I love, I mean, I just, it's easy. You just, whatever you've got going on in your tank is kind of like you don't have to worry or stress over it. Just go ahead and cap it. Just put the sand on there. Because, like, I've got, what is it, a stratum? I've got my stratum capped, and it's doing
Yeah,
wonderfully.
yeah. Alex makes an interesting point. Um, he's talking about flora and saying that
Are y'all
that it
ready?
is not bioavailable for plants for up to 6 months, um, because it takes that long for it to for the bacterial metabolism to break it down so that it becomes so that there's a mineralization that makes it available to plants, which is why I do an enriched substrate, enriched soil by adding a lot of minerals to it rather than mineralize it through a process. I simply put the minerals in. Now, not all of them are bioavailable. Iron oxide, for example, is not immediately bioavailable. I've taken to adding liquid iron to to my soil as a way of being able to provide activated iron that is available instantly. Um, I still use iron oxide because it has a very long range beneficial effect 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Uh, it's very slow to break down. What else? What about fertilizing the water column? Mohammed is asking. Well, it's interesting. It depends on what you've got in the water column. If you have plants that are taking their nutrition from the water column, then it's appropriate to do so. If you have rooted plants um, that are taking their nutrition from the substrate, then it's not appropriate. In both cases, if you're going to use any kind of liquid fertilizer, it's you don't do it and then do it again and then do it like you don't dose it every week. You put a dose in, a small dose, about 10% of what they recommend, and then don't do it again for 3 to 6 months. Think think like a gardener. A gardener does not expose his plants to excessive fertilization because it burns them up. Um, they just it's uh, too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Have you plowed? Alex is asking, have I played with CO2 in the planet tank? Um, no, I have not. Um, I have I have some customers who have found that it was a big help for them, particularly in growing very low growing plants, growing cover plants for their that acted like a bed or a blanket, if you will, in their tank. They found it was helpful in that respect. Gil the goldfish is here. Hello, Gil. Nice to have you with us.
And Gil is loving the topic. I think you should continue with this. It's very good.
Oh, well,
Yep. Keep on. I don't know. Okay, wait a minute. Abolished task. It's 6:35.
yeah, I got it. You think
Okay.
synthetic fertilizers for the water column we see for sale all over slow down mycorrhizal and bacterial relationship with aquatic plants like it does in normal farming? You betcha. Um, the mycorrhizal growth occurs. It occurs very. Now I don't know. Maybe Alex could help us with this. This came up about a week ago, and I'm not familiar with how it works in submersed in an aquatic environment. I have found um, on occasion I found subsoil in an aquatic environment that had what appeared to be um, fungal growth throughout the substrate. But I was never really clear about that as to whether that in fact is what I was seeing. Obviously, I've never seen a mushroom in my tank, so I don't know how it would fruit or what it would create.
Yeah. I see. It's 6:36. Did you get that?
Yeah, but yeah,
Muhammad? Oh yeah.
my sense is it. You really can overdo it with fertilizer, and what it'll create is basically a polluted environment that'll be dangerous to the plants, to the fish, to the whole system. Um, it's it's what happens when when um, when a system gets too much nutrition. It begins to foul, and typically one uh, pest organic element like red algae takes over and dominates and acts as a death knell to the rest of the environment. Where are we? What time we got? 6:40. I want to play Cass's new song. It's really cute. Let me see if I can find it here. Um, Aquatic Conquest has uh, restructured it, whatever the word is, redone it and made it something really pretty special. And I'm not finding it. Let's see. Let me get a list here. Finally fixed, my fisherman enemy, midway break.
You might have removed it. since it was for the Christmas.
Okay.
Sometimes he puts it up and then takes it back down. I'm not sure.
It
And
just came up.
oh, did you get it?
Oh,
Okay.
here it is. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
JT, I'll get to that in just a second.
All right. Let's see. Now I got to get back over here and bring it up. And I'm doing this because I need to take a break.
Okay. Yeah, Morgan had a comment too about the spider plant. Have you ever put spider plants in aquariums, Father Fish?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I told her, yeah.
You really are here. You're as cuddly as a sea urchin. You're as charming as an eel. Just a silver dollar. You're a fast banana. Your wrinkles and your smile. You know the sweetness of a silver dollar. You're the far one. There was back. I wanna touch you, but 39.5 You're a monster. I see the hole. You've got darling. You've got in your soul. All the minutes, I shredded them. All the angel fish, I took them down. You can ask Father Fish. I don't play around. Ew. Who's this mean fishy with his scales all silver and his eyes all black? You're a monster. Hearts in empty hole. You've got garlic. There's garlic in your soul. All the fins, I shredded them. All the angel fish, I took them down. You can ask Father Fish. I don't play around. Ew. Who's this mean fishy with his scales all silver and his eyes all black? La la la. But you're so mean for. But the things come around and me and at your door. Bad silver dollar. 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 Bad silver dollar.
Isn't that great?
Yes. Sponsored by Chevy
I
Fish.
love it. Really
Hello, Chevy.
wonderful.
Way to. There was one at 6:37, I think, from JT. Let's see. See if I can find it again.
Way up, way up.
I think, yeah, way up. And then Emily was asking about snails, but I think the chat went too far and I can't scroll up to it anymore.
Is that JT727?
Yes, sir.
Diet and tank require water changes in the beginning stage.
Dirted.
Dirted. Okay, right. In case we encountered cyano, biofilm, wood leaching, etc. Does the dirted tank require water change to the beginning stage? Well, Um, gee, I do both. I've done water changes and I've not done water changes. And what I've noticed is if you don't do water changes in the beginning, then um, the system has a tendency to level out after 2 to 3 months. If you do water changes, what you're doing is um, you're removing nutrients from the water on a regular routine basis. Um, it's you kind of pays your money and takes your chances. You you can do it either way. I do it both. I mean, when I set up a new tank, half of the time it'll be a tank that is in isolation from everything else, and it will not get water changes for perhaps 3 or 4 months. It may get top off, but it won't get a water change. Um, there are others that are system tanks that are getting water changes on a regular routine, virtually a daily basis. I frankly don't see a lot of difference between the two. Um, I find the system simply balances itself out. I mean, it it's an effective system. It's an effective approach.
Thank you, David.
Yes, David Sampson.
David Sampsell. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
David, very much. It's very generous of you, and we appreciate you very much. Um, by the way, those of you who have not yet become members, either here or on um, what's it called?
Discord.
No,
The Discord.
no,
Oh, just the channel,
no,
the YouTube membership.
no.
Oh, Patreon.
Patreon, right? Thank you. Those of you who have not become members, either here or YouTube or on Patreon, um, you might consider doing so at the minimum level in order to be able to access our Discord channel. There's more and more activity on there. It's kind of taking on a life of its own. It is an opportunity to be able to post pictures, text, um, even audio and video. You can do little video uh, clips as well. It's a really wonderful venue for 24/7 conversation. You can get on there anytime, day or night, and increasingly expect to find someone else there. Now, when you join, you'll be put in a waiting room because we need to verify that you are indeed a member. This is a membership benefit. So once we verify that you are a member, then you'll be granted full access to Discord and be able to use it as your own. What I strongly recommend is that you create an icon on your phone or your computer or both and leave it on. Don't turn it off. Leave it on so you will get all notifications of anyone posting to it. It'll be live continuously, and of course, there's no effective cost for that. So it's other than your membership. So it's a way for you to be able to stay in touch with the members of the fish fam, at least the Father Fish members, and we're talking to Alex and James and a few others about granting them the same access to the channel for their members as an added benefit for them. We're really happy to do that because it'll increase the conversation, and it's not proprietary. No, I don't gain any benefit from it, from anyone's participation on it. So I'm very happy to share it with any of the other any of the other folks here who have channels and want their members to be able to access it. Alex has been active on it. I don't know if James has yet. I haven't really had a chance to. Has he?
I don't know. I haven't been on it either, and I need
I
to
don't know
because
that
I
he has.
enjoy
Yeah,
the Discord.
yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's increasingly so. Holly's been posting on there. A bunch of people
Okay.
have.
Yeah. Oh, we've got some great people. Chevy
Yeah.
and
Yeah, Chevy's been on it since the beginning.
I know it's good. I've been on Discord with some other channels, and it's like wonderful because, and if you can get, when Father Fish gets kind of where he can get on it too, it's a way to be, like you said, one on one, personal, sending
Yeah,
pictures.
exactly. Right.
You've got something on your fish, you can send a picture, and then you've got people like Alex there and Chevy and like James. You can't beat
Yeah, I
them.
think it's going to be a
Holly.
fabulous resource. And the
Hmm.
other thing is we can do live streams on Discord.
Oh, okay.
So we can do what we're doing here over
Hmm.
there on Discord. Um, it doesn't have the same promotional reach, um, but we
But
can
it's
do
more
that
of a
in other ways. Yeah.
it's
And
more of
on
a
Heaven's
personal.
asking any tips on breeding cichlids,
Yes.
specifically rams, in dirted tanks. Well, it's kind of interesting. Um, there are many different kinds of cichlids that breed in many different ways. Um, African cichlids, for example, and some of the big Central American cichlids was I would never put in a dirted tank because they are earth movers. They're mountain movers. They will move the entire substrate of a tank, regardless how deep it is, from one end of the tank to the other, and they'll just make a mess of things. So, for fish like uh, Monster Fish Gal has, I do not recommend a dirted substrate. I do recommend a deep substrate, um, 4 to 6 inches of sand, because it will provide them what they're looking for in terms of being able to create the kind of pit breeding that those particular fish um, um, prefer. Others, like the rams, for example, are a hardscape spawner, and they spawn on flat surfaces, laying flat on the substrate. There are others like crebensis that will dig under. If you have a flat rock sitting on the substrate, they will dig under it and lay their eggs on the roof of that rock, on the essentially the roof of a cave. So you can breed them in little pots, for example, where they're looking for a cave, the top of the cave, to be able to lay their eggs. Others, like angels, breed on leaves or hardscape that is on an angle or upright. They breed on a vertical surface, not a horizontal surface. They may breed on a leaf which is perhaps somewhat horizontal, but it really is a vertical surface that's in the water column. Um, Others, like the African cichlids, the Malawi cichlids, are a pit spawner, even though they do not leave their eggs laying in the pit the way most of the Central Americans do. They pick them up and brood them in their mouth. They nevertheless maintain a pit to be able to control those eggs as they're produced in order to be able to just not lose them. Um, Other kinds of cichlids, I think if you have flat rocks for like geophagus, um, what are some others? Um, of course, Oscars are much bigger. Oscars are gonna root around and kind of dig down. I'm trying to think of some moderate sized chocolate cichlids. They don't really dig much. Geophagus don't dig much. Discus don't dig at all. They lay eggs the way angels do on a vertical surface. So it depends entirely on what the fish is. Um, you need to research and get a sense of what it requires, and then try to provide that. But in general, doing a deep dirted substrate with big earth moving cichlids is is something you will not like, because they're gonna turn it into a mud hole.
They're going to do some landscaping. They're architects, aren't they?
They are indeed. Alex is doing a stream following theirs, talking about water change or not to water change, and when. Excellent, excellent.
All right. Um, Jess was asking, what do you type in when you get on Discord? Oh, like, I know there's an invite
Yeah,
link
you
that you
just go
click
to
on. We
that
did
and
a
sit there and
tutorial.
wait. In the
Oh,
waiting,
Williams.
there's a waiting room, like a doctor's waiting room, and you
Yeah.
just have to sit there until Thomas or Alex or somebody takes notice of you and and
Thank you, Millions and Sons.
approves you as a member.
You just got a new member, speaking of members, or Millions and Sons just joined us.
Oh, look at that! Very nice.
Very
Thank
nice.
you, Million and Sons. Very nice. Thank you so much, and welcome.
Thank you, Patrick and Lori and everybody.
Total Tropicals
Simple
TV.
Fish Keep. That's a new one that's come. I think they've been here before. Yep.
Mohammed, where are you from? Total Tropics is obviously Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Mohammed Hamza Durrani.
Oh, Jess says,
saying crebensis are amazing fish. They absolutely are. Alex was showing one of his albino crevies last night. I've spawned them. They're just a beautiful, beautiful fish. A lot of the albinos don't show me much, but the albino crebensis they've got secondary colors that just make them a really, really.
I love them. I like the albinos. Jess says I guess she's clicked on there now and she's not able, maybe she's waiting for, oh yeah, she said I did and I'm waiting for approval now.
Okay, yeah, it'll come. Okay. It may take a while.
And we're at 6:59.
Okay, so we're down to it here. All right, let's do
Simple Fish.
another. We can do another little tune, can't we?
We sure can.
Yeah, let's do that, and we will bid our fond adieus for the evening.
So, next best thing to a sand-capped dirt tank is a deep sand bed. I was trying to get that one real quick from FISHY. So yes, it was at 6:59 on the dot. Talking about putting in, if you don't have a dirted system with its sand cap, just a deep sand bed is good. It just takes longer for it to establish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Thank you, guys.
What do we got here? Let's do. No, I don't want to do that one. Let's see. Here we are. We'll do Foxy's song. This is kind of. Is that it? That's not the one I want. Come on. Let's see. All right, let's do this. We'll do this and then follow it up. Let me get. Sorry, I didn't have this prepped, guys. Let me get it up. We got a Foxy song, which we haven't played for a while. What's he saying? Play Roxanne. That's what I'm doing. Good choice there, Lee. Got it. Right here. There it goes.
How did my shawl, the people are calling, and treat you to take root. How you mind, and if you come broken, I'll say I wish I was with them again. Constant to be with you again.
Very nice. Thank you, Roxy. And here's Fishy. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye,
See
everyone.
you all in the morning. Bye for now. Love you all.
And he told us of his life in the land by Chesapeake. So we searched upon YouTube till we found his tank so clean. And we smiled and found our way on thought adventures, fun like free. We all love the fishes race like stream. He keeps his tank so clean, the plants they are so green. We all love his white figure, so white. His eyes they are so bright. He always keeps it tight. And my friends are all aboard. Many more of them, they still snore. But to watch him on replay. We all love the fish with great black streams. His tanks they are so clean. The plants they are so green. We all love his monkey is so white. He always keeps it tight. His eyes are so bright. As we live the life